It's a debate we never had. It's really amazing. I mean, you think about how much time we end up debating in Washington this weapons program, this education program. The amounts are tiny compared to what we spent in the response to 9/11.
Our guest is David Sanger. The book is Confront and Conceal, now in paperback. He covers the national security issues for the New York Times. Scott is joining us from Peekskill, New York. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that your sensitivities on 9/11. My father was actually in World Trade Center 2 when the second plane hit, and it's very difficult moment for our family to deal with every anniversary.
Did he survive the attack, Scott?
He did, but he's been very traumatized by it. His company, virtually ceased to exist as of that day. And, being a senior member of that company, it was very difficult for him to deal with all the changes, because you've been going to the same place to work your entire life, and then all of a sudden the building doesn't even exist anymore, and, such a traumatic. He was running through the smoke with his briefcase, and the fireman found his wallet like 6 months later and returned it to him. And I mean, it was just such we couldn't find him all day. It was a very traumatic event, and I'm glad to hear that you gentlemen share so many sensitivities to the matter. My question is to your guest. Across the street from the New York Times building, there's a billboard asking you where your paper's coverage is of the over 2,000 architects and engineers who are demanding a new investigation of Building 7's destruction on 9/11, and the overwhelming evidence that pre-planted explosives destroyed it. Since this has everything to do with our national security, can you explain what rational and scientific basis your paper has for failing to fairly and objectively cover this crucial issue?
Scott, thanks very much for your question. I grew up near Peekskill and grew up around New York, and so trust me, the people who work at the New York Times have as much of a critical interest in what happened on 9/11 as anybody else, because not only are they reporters there, but they live and work within the city. And we've devoted a fairly considerable amount of reportorial time over the past number of years to the question of all of the different theories, conspiracy theories, regular theories, non-conspiracy theories about what happened on that day. And you've heard the huge variety of them. We have not yet found any convincing evidence to suggest that there was a plot. There was a plot that the president knew about in advance, which was one of the issues that came up. I was with the president on 9/11 at the school in Florida. I can tell you that he looked pretty shocked by what had happened and shell-shocked by what had happened. And we have not found any evidence so far. That doesn't mean there's none there, but we've not found any evidence so far to suggest that the building collapses were caused by anything other than the two airplanes that flew into them.
Let me share with you this.